The Galactic Council had never faced anything like this. For thousands of years, civilizations from countless star systems had gathered in its massive chamber, debating borders, trade, and alliances. They had negotiated wars, peace treaties, and technology exchanges. They had faced cunning species, mighty fleets, and cunning diplomats, but never humans. When the humans arrived, panic spread faster than light. Their ships were unlike anything in the Council's vast fleet. They were large, yes, but their design was simple and utilitarian. They lacked the polished elegance of other interstellar vessels, the shimmering energy shields, the graceful curves. Yet there was a confidence about them that no one could ignore. Every human ship, from the smallest scout to the massive flagship, seemed alive with purpose. Elder Archon of the Zorathians slammed his claws onto the council table. The sound echoed through the chamber, startling ambassadors from dozens of species. "This is impossible," he bellowed. "Every species we have encountered eventually agrees to talk. Every single one. And now humans refuse? Refuse to negotiate?" A holographic projection flickered to life above the table, showing the human fleet in orbit near the council. Hundreds of massive ships hovered like silent predators, engines glowing faintly. On the command deck of their flagship, humans moved with quiet precision, unhurried yet focused. Their faces showed calm determination, something the council had never seen in any species. Fearless, stubborn, unshakable. Ambassador Lyra of the Selunari whispered to her aide, "Do they know who they face? The council is older than most civilizations here. Their technology is unimaginable, but humans did not flinch. They did not offer excuses, did not plead for peace. Their message was simple yet powerful. We are here. We will not negotiate. We will not back down." Council chambers erupted into chaos. Delegates shouted over one another, some demanding immediate strikes, others calling for diplomacy. Panic spread like wildfire. The Selunari began running calculations in real time, trying to predict human behavior. The Archonites argued over fleet deployment. For the first time in history, the Council's centuries of experience felt powerless against a single species. Then, a human voice cut through the chaos. Commander Elias, leader of the human delegation, stood tall at the communication console. His voice was steady, calm, and carried the weight of unshakable resolve. "We are not here to destroy, and we are not here to fight unless provoked. But make no mistake, we will not bow. We will not compromise our right to exist." The words echoed through the chamber, freezing even the most confident elders. Silence fell. For the first time, the council witnessed a species that did not fear them, that did not beg or negotiate. The humans' defiance was not arrogance, it was survival. Their unity and courage shone brighter than the most powerful energy weapons in the galaxy. Even as panic gripped the council, some ambassadors felt an unfamiliar stir of respect. How could such a young species, so small and seemingly fragile, stand before them with such certainty? Humans had survived countless catastrophes on their home planet. Plagues, wars, environmental collapse, and now they carried that resilience into space, refusing to be intimidated. Back on the human ships, the crew moved quietly. Engineers checked reactors, medics cared for recruits, and soldiers drilled calmly in the corridors. There was no fear, no anger, no desperation, just focus, just determination. They were not here to conquer, but they would defend their right to exist at any cost. As night fell over the council chamber, the stars outside shone like distant witnesses. And for the first time in its long history, the Galactic Council felt small. Something about humanity could not be measured or controlled. Something about their courage, their unity, and their refusal to bow to pressure was terrifying and inspiring. Elder Archon whispered to himself, "Can a single species so young and untested truly change the fate of the galaxy?" The council had no answer, only panic. And humanity waited calm and unyielding, ready to prove that survival was more than negotiation. It was the strength to stand, no matter the cost. Panic spread like wildfire through the Galactic Council. For centuries they had ruled with diplomacy, threats, and logic, yet none of their tools worked on humanity. Nothing had prepared them for a species that refused to negotiate, refused to compromise, and refused to bow. Elder Archon paced the chamber, his claws clicking against the polished floor. "We cannot let this continue. If humans remain unchallenged, it sets a dangerous precedent. Every species will follow their example. Ambassador Lyra of the Selunari shook her head. You don't understand. This isn't defiance for pride. They are united. They are fearless. I've analyzed their fleet, their tactics, their communication. They do not act like any species I've studied. Their courage, it's incomprehensible. Meanwhile, council generals argued fiercely about how to respond. Some demanded an immediate strike, claiming humanity must be crushed before they became a threat. Others suggested isolating them, cutting off supplies or attempting subtle sabotage. Yet every plan faced the same problem. Humans did not fear the council. Every threat, every warning only strengthened their resolve. Back on the human flagship, Commander Elias received the council's latest message. It was polite, but its meaning was clear. Comply or face destruction. He read it silently, then placed his hand on the console and looked out at the endless expanse of stars. His crew watched him with quiet trust. Elias spoke to them, his voice calm but filled with authority. They think fear will make us bow. They are wrong. Our mission is not to negotiate because we will not compromise our future. Stand ready, but remember, we defend, we do not provoke. Humanity survives because we hold together. The crew nodded. Their unity was tangible. Every officer, every soldier, every engineer felt the same pulse of determination. On Earth, they had faced impossible odds. Now across the stars, they faced a galaxy that underestimated them. In the council chamber, debates grew louder. We must act, shouted General Crix of the Vortan hives. We cannot allow this species to continue unchecked. Ambassador Lyra raised her voice over the chaos. Do you see what you are missing? Violence will not work. They will not break. They survive because they trust each other, because they never surrender. And if we attack, we only make them stronger. Her words were drowned by angry shouts, but a few elders nodded. There was an uneasy feeling in the chamber, fear mixed with curiosity. Could this fragile species truly be more powerful than centuries of galactic diplomacy? Suddenly, the chamber lights dimmed. A human hologram appeared at the center, a gesture of courtesy. Commander Elias' image spoke directly to every delegate. We are not here to fight, but we will not bow. If you attack, we will defend ourselves, but we ask you to think, not react. Look at our history. See what we have survived. Understand our will to live. The room fell silent. Even the most belligerent species paused. There was a strange weight to his words. Humans had faced extinction on their own planet, overcome war and disease, famine and disaster. They were a species tempered by survival, strengthened by unity, and unafraid to stand against impossible odds. For the first time, the council began to see that the humans' refusal to negotiate was not arrogance. It was courage. It was a statement that some principles were stronger than fear, stronger than threats, stronger than centuries of tradition. Yet fear remained. Could a species so young, so small, really withstand the might of the council? Could they survive if violence came? Commander Elias's hologram faded, leaving the council delegates staring at one another, unsettled and unsure. Humanity waited, silent but unyielding, a force the galaxy had never expected. And as the council struggled to find a solution, a terrifying thought began to take root among the elders. Maybe, just maybe, humans were not meant to be controlled. Maybe their refusal to bend was not a weakness, but the beginning of a power that could change the galaxy forever. Tension in the Galactic Council reached a breaking point. Days of debate had produced no solution. Every plan to intimidate the humans failed. Every threat only strengthened their resolve. The council elders were desperate, and panic gnawed at their pride. General Crix of the Vortan hives slammed his clawed hand against the table. We cannot wait any longer. They refuse to negotiate, refuse to yield. If we do nothing, the galaxy will see weakness. We must act. Ambassador Lyra shook her head. And if we attack, we provoke them. Do you not see? They do not act out of pride, they act out of survival. Violence will only awaken something you cannot control. But the council had already begun deployment. Fleets of warships from dozens of species moved into positions around the human fleet. Shields activated, energy cannons hummed, and commanders braced for what they believed would be a swift, decisive strike. On the human flagship, Commander Elias observed the approaching fleets through the main viewport. The stars seemed to burn brighter as alien ships moved into formation. He turned to his officers, his voice calm and steady. Prepare defenses. We do not attack, but we will protect ourselves. Humanity has survived worse. We will survive this too. The crew nodded silently. Every human on the bridge felt the weight of history on their shoulders, yet no fear showed on their faces. They had learned courage in the fires of their homeworld. They had learned unity when the world tried to tear them apart. Now across the stars, that courage would be tested again. The first shot came from the Vortan hives, a warning blast intended to scare the humans into submission. Alien energy tore through the darkness of space, streaking toward the human flagship, but the humans did not panic. Elias's hand moved over the command console and the ship shuddered, not from fear but from precision. Shields flared to life, intercepting the energy beam. It exploded harmlessly against the human defenses. The Council's delegation gasped. No one expected such skill, such coordination. Then came the countermeasures. Small, agile human fighters launched from the flagship, moving like shadows among the alien ships. They did not attack recklessly. They did not aim to destroy. Their goal was simple: protect their fleet, stay alive, and show they would not be intimidated. The Council watched in disbelief as one by one, human maneuvers outsmarted larger, more powerful warships. Alien generals shouted orders, tried to regroup, but the humans anticipated every move. They were not just fighting, they were surviving, adapting, and proving their determination with every pulse of energy and every maneuver in space. On the Council floor, whispers of fear spread. Elder Arkan could not hide his shock. They are stronger than we imagined. They are not just brave. They are clever, coordinated, unstoppable if we push them too far. Lyra stepped forward, her voice trembling with awe. They survive because they never give up. They fight not because they seek conquest, but because they refuse to be defeated. This is why they will not negotiate. No one can bend them. No one can break them. As the first engagement ended, neither side had lost a ship, but the humans had sent a clear message. They would not bow. They would not flee. They would defend, endure, and outlast anyone who tried to force them into submission. Back on the human flagship, Elias looked at his crew with quiet pride. Remember this day, not because of the shots fired, but because we stood together. Humanity survives because we do not surrender, even when the galaxy itself tries to bend us. And somewhere deep in the council chamber, a thought began to take root among the elders. Perhaps humanity's refusal to negotiate was not defiance, it was destiny. The galaxy had never faced a species like this. And now it was beginning to understand why humans were different. Because they never gave up. They never feared and they never bowed. After the first confrontation, the Galactic Council fell into uneasy silence. The human fleet had not attacked, yet it had survived flawlessly. Every maneuver, every counter, every defensive action had been precise, coordinated, and unshakable. The elders could not hide the growing fear. Humanity was not just brave, they were clever, united, and unbreakable. Elder Arkan's claws drummed on the table, a sound that usually commanded attention. We cannot underestimate them. We thought they would fear us, negotiate, maybe retreat. But they did not. They stood. They survived. And now? His voice trembled, a rare crack in centuries of authority. Now we must face the truth. We do not know what they are capable of. Ambassador Lyra stepped forward, her eyes scanning the chamber. We cannot fight them as we do other species. They do not act like anyone else. They do not fear death, they do not seek power, they do not surrender. Every species we've controlled, we've understood. Humans, we cannot understand. Generals argued again, louder and more desperate. Some demanded a full-scale strike, claiming it was the only way to force humanity into submission. Others warned that such an attack could ignite a war the Council could not control. Fear had replaced logic. Panic had replaced strategy. Meanwhile, humans moved calmly in their ships. Commander Elias watched the Council's fleets through the viewport. He could feel the tension in space, the silent threat, the unspoken panic. Yet his crew remained focused, their faces calm. No one complained. No one wavered. They had faced extinction on Earth. They had survived famine, war, disease, and natural disaster. And now they were surviving the galaxy itself. Elias spoke to his crew quietly, yet every word carried weight. They do not understand us. That is our advantage. They think fear can bend us. It cannot. Humanity survives because we are together. Remember this. Stand firm. Protect each other. We do not bow. We do not compromise. We endure. Back in the council chamber, whispers of disbelief spread among the delegates. Species that had once prided themselves on centuries of military and political dominance now questioned everything. Could a species so young, so small, truly withstand the combined might of the galaxy? Could they survive if the council truly unleashed its power? Lyra's voice rose again, filled with awe and warning. They are not just strong. They are something we have never seen. They survive because they never give up, because they fight not for conquest, but because they refuse to be defeated. That is why they will not negotiate. That is why every threat we make only strengthens them. Elder Arkan closed his eyes. We face a species that does not act like any other. A species that values survival above fear, courage above pride, unity above intimidation. And yet, we cannot attack them without risking annihilation. We cannot negotiate without surrendering authority. What choice remains? The council chamber was silent except for the low hum of alien technology. Every species was forced to confront an uncomfortable truth. Humanity was not like any other species. They could not be bargained with, they could not be frightened, they could not be forced into submission. In space, human ships held their formation, calm and unshakable. The galaxy had underestimated them, and that mistake was already proving costly. Commander Elias watched the stars, thinking of Earth, of the sacrifices humanity had endured, of the generations who had built a species capable of standing against the unknown. And somewhere deep in the hearts of the council's elders, a seed of fear grew into something larger, respect. Perhaps humanity's refusal to negotiate was not rebellion. Perhaps it was proof of something greater. Perhaps the galaxy was witnessing the rise of a species that would not just survive, but shape the future itself. The council had no solution, only panic, fear, and awe, and humanity waited, silent, patient, and unyielding, ready to face whatever the galaxy could throw at them next. The Galactic Council could no longer pretend they understood humanity. Days had passed since the first confrontation, and still the humans did not flinch. They did not retreat. They did not negotiate. They simply endured, and that endurance, that calm defiance, had begun to terrify the galaxy. In the council chamber, arguments erupted again, louder and more desperate than ever. Elder Arkan's claws rapped against the table. They are not just surviving, they are outmaneuvering us. Our fleets, our best strategists, none can anticipate their moves. How can we control a species that does not follow our logic? Ambassador Lyra stood, her voice calm but firm. We cannot control them, and that is why we must rethink our approach. They are not aggressive, yet they are not submissive. They act not out of fear, but out of willpower, unity, and purpose. Every threat we issue only strengthens them. The galaxy has never faced a species like this. Meanwhile, Commander Elias and his crew moved quietly through their ships. Sensors monitored the surrounding fleets. Engines hummed, and every human aboard worked together as one cohesive unit. No one panicked. No one questioned orders. They had faced impossible odds on Earth, and now they faced the galaxy itself. Their experience, their unity, their unwavering courage made them unstoppable in ways the Council could not measure. A sudden warning came across the human fleet's communications. Alien ships were attempting to flank their formation. Without hesitation, human fighters launched, small and swift, moving like shadows between the massive warships. They did not fire unnecessarily. They did not strike to destroy. They acted with precision, protecting their fleet, neutralizing threats, and proving once again that humans would not bow. Back in the council chamber, the elders stared at the holographic feeds streaming from the human fleet. Every species gasped as human ships dodged, countered, and outmaneuvered superior technology. Fleets that were considered the pride of the galaxy now seemed clumsy, slow, and predictable. Humanity's resilience and tactical skill stunned everyone. Elder Arkan's voice shook. This is impossible. How can a species so young, so small, stand against the combined fleets of the Council and not falter? How? Lyra's gaze did not waver. It is because they are united. They fight not for glory or conquest, but because they refuse to be broken. Fear cannot bend them. Threats cannot sway them. And that, Arkan, that is their greatest strength. Commander Elias watched the alien fleets from the bridge of his flagship. They do not understand us, he said quietly. They cannot. They never have. Humanity survives because we face danger together. We endure. We protect each other. And we never ever give up. The council's panic grew. Whispers of doubt spread among the delegates. Could they actually defeat humanity? Could a species that endured unimaginable trials on their home planet truly withstand the combined power of the galaxy? For the first time, they realized that perhaps their authority was not absolute. Perhaps this small, stubborn species could change the balance of power forever. Yet humanity did not gloat. They did not celebrate. They simply held their position, silent and unwavering, proving that survival was not about intimidation. It was about courage, unity, and an unyielding will. And as the council grappled with Diao, terrifying truth, a quiet realization settled among the elders. The humans' refusal to negotiate was not rebellion. It was a force stronger than fleets, stronger than diplomacy, stronger than fear itself. Somewhere in the galaxy, the seed of respect began to grow. Humanity's resolve had done more than survive. It had changed the way the galaxy thought about strength, power, and courage. They had proven that even the smallest species, with enough unity and determination, could stand against the mightiest powers in existence. For the first time in galactic history, the Council felt uncertainty, and humanity waited, calm, patient, and unyielding, ready to face whatever the galaxy would send next. Days passed, and the Council's fear had begun to shift into something else: awareness. The humans had survived attacks, flanked maneuvers, and relentless pressure without yielding. They had defended themselves not with anger, not with cruelty, but with quiet precision, unwavering courage, and unshakable unity. The galaxy had never seen anything like it. In the council chamber, debates were no longer about punishment or intimidation. They had turned inward, questioning centuries of authority. Elder Arkan stared at the hollow map of the human fleet, his claws trembling. They are not like us. They do not follow the rules of fear, the rules of power, and yet they endure. They endure where we expected them to break. I do not understand. Ambassador Lyra's voice rose, filled with conviction. Perhaps that is the point. We have always judged strength by fear and obedience. But humans are strong because they do not bend to either. They are united, they are courageous, and they protect each other. That is a strength the Council cannot measure, cannot control, cannot break. We have underestimated them. Meanwhile, on the human flagship, Commander Elias walked along the corridors, speaking quietly to his crew. Every species we face believes fear can stop us. Every species assumes we will negotiate under pressure. They are wrong. Humanity survives because we never give up, because we never stand alone. We fight not for glory but to protect each other, and that is why we will endure. The crew nodded silently, each human feeling the weight of history in their veins. They had survived droughts, wars, plagues, and disasters on Earth. They had survived because they were united, and now in the cold vastness of space they continued that legacy, facing a galaxy that did not understand them. Back in the Council, some elders began to whisper, almost reverently. They had studied the humans' actions, their tactics, their history, and slowly they realized that humanity's refusal to negotiate was not arrogance, it was purpose. It was a statement that some things were greater than fear, greater than threats, greater than authority. Humanity's will was unyielding, and the galaxy could no longer ignore it. Elder Arkan looked around the chamber, seeing uncertainty in every delegate's eyes. We have faced many threats, many wars, many species, but perhaps none like this. Perhaps none that survive because of something so simple: courage, unity, loyalty. Humanity is not just a species, they are a lesson. A reminder, Lyra nodded, a lesson that survival is not about power or domination. It is about perseverance, about protecting what you hold dear, about refusing to bow. And for the first time, I think the galaxy must see that. In the depths of space, the human fleet held its position, calm and unshakable. There were no celebrations, no displays of arrogance. Just quiet strength, just determination, just the knowledge that they would endure no matter the odds, no matter the galaxy, no matter the Council. And slowly, the Council began to change. Fear was replaced with respect, panic with reflection, authority with humility. For the first time in millennia, the elders realized that power was not measured by size or weapons or fleets, but by courage, unity, and the refusal to surrender. Commander Elias stood on the bridge, watching the stars. They are learning, he said softly to his second-in-command. They are beginning to see what we already know. Humanity survives because we never give up, and when the galaxy sees that, they will never forget it. And somewhere, deep within the heart of the Council, a silent acknowledgement formed. Humans were more than survivors. They were a force the galaxy could not ignore, a species that would change everything simply by refusing to bow, refusing to negotiate, and refusing to be broken. Humanity waited, calm, patient, and unyielding, and the galaxy had no choice but to watch, to respect, and to wonder what this small, stubborn species could achieve next. Time passed, and the Galactic Council could no longer act as though humanity was just another species to be managed. The humans had survived every threat, every test without surrender, without negotiation, without compromise. Their courage and unity had forced the galaxy to recognize a truth long ignored. Strength was not measured in fleets or weapons, but in will, in heart, and in the refusal to bend. In the council chamber, whispers filled the air. Elder Arkan's claws hovered over the table, trembling with a mixture of fear, awe, and admiration. We have tried everything. Threats, pressure, intimidation. Nothing has worked. And yet they endure. How can a species so young, so small, change the balance of power across the galaxy? Ambassador Lyra's voice was steady, filled with quiet reverence. It is because they are not like any species we have met. They act not for conquest, not for pride, but for survival, for each other. They are united in ways we cannot comprehend. They have taught us that courage and loyalty can outshine even the greatest fleets. Humanity is not just surviving. They are reshaping what the galaxy understands about strength. Meanwhile, aboard the human flagship, Commander Elias walked along the bridge, observing his crew with pride. Engineers adjusted reactor outputs, pilots monitored alien fleets, and soldiers drilled with quiet precision. No one panicked. No one questioned orders. Every human acted as one living organism, bound together by a shared purpose, survival and protection of their species. Elias spoke softly to his second-in-command. We have faced extinction on Earth, famine, disease, war. We survived because we stood together. That is what we carry into space. That is why no one can force us to bend, to negotiate, or to bow. And that is why humanity will endure. Back in the council chamber, Elder Arkan cleared his throat, his voice heavy with realization. Perhaps we have been wrong for centuries. Perhaps we have judged strength too narrowly, too harshly. Humans do not seek power over others. They do not bow to authority. They survive because they are united, because they have courage, because they never give up. They are extraordinary. A stunned silence fell across the chamber. Delegates exchanged uncertain looks. Some could not hide their awe, others their fear. The truth was undeniable. Humanity had changed the galaxy without firing a single offensive shot. Their refusal to negotiate, their calm defiance, their unwavering unity, had rewritten the rules of power. In space, human ships maintained their formation. The stars reflected off their hulls like silent witnesses to the courage that had carried them this far. Elias looked out into the endless void, thinking of Earth, of generations who had struggled and survived. Humanity was no longer just a planet, it was a force, a symbol, a lesson for the entire galaxy. Finally, the council spoke in unison, a voice heavy with reluctant respect. We see now, humanity is not a species to control. Humanity is a species to honor, to understand, and perhaps to follow. The humans did not celebrate. They did not gloat. They waited, calm, patient, and unyielding as always. Their message had been clear from the beginning. They would not negotiate, they would not bow, and they would not be broken. And now the galaxy had no choice but to accept it. Elder Arkan leaned back, whispering almost to himself, "Perhaps this is what it means to survive. Truly survive. Not through domination, but through courage, unity, and the refusal to surrender. Humanity has shown us what it means to live without fear." In that moment, the Council realized that humanity had not only survived, they had changed the galaxy's understanding of strength, leadership, and hope. A species once underestimated had become a beacon, a reminder that courage, loyalty, and unity could defy even the oldest, most powerful forces in existence, and so humanity waited, silent, unwavering, unbroken. The galaxy had learned its lesson. Never underestimate a species that refuses to bow, that protects its own, and that stands together against the impossible. Humanity's story had only begun, but the legend of their courage would echo through the stars for generations to come.